I believe I'm live, but I don't know if I'm live on. Go live. Okay, so obviously my camera is back on, thankfully. And I believe that I'm live on Facebook and YouTube, although I seem to be frozen. Okay, we'll try this again. So, this site is called Take What Rings True. And the whole idea is I'm going to share spiritual thoughts and you can believe it or not. So I learned this information about the Temple of Levels. The other side has temples and halls that help us while on earth and also help the spirits that are on the other side. So this temple of levels is a temple that's used by spirits on the other side, but it helps us indirectly. So, my name is Teresa Micheletti, and this site is called Take What Rings True. And we're talking today about the Temple of Levels. So, if you look at this temple, it has doors on each side, and it's a one-story building that's Egyptian looking. And so it's earth colored, and there's short columns, but the columns glow. I like to think of this temple like a town hall where the community gets together, the people on the other side or the spirits on the other side, and share what's happening, what's new in their research. The other side is organized in levels. So, in one level, spirits in heavenly form, people when they're in heavenly form, work with animals or plants. On another level, there would be teachers, speakers. So different levels of the other side have different focuses. And uh, according to how much you perfected, your soul has perfected, then you work on different levels. But even if you were on the level of teachers, but you loved working with animals, you can go work with animals. That's okay. Or you want to work with plants, go work with the plants. It's okay. So different levels have different halls and temples corresponding to the different vocations or jobs at each level. As an example, you would find the arts at level 4. So if you were going to go learn about painting, singing, then you would go to the Temple of Artistic Endeavor, which would be on level 4. But um, if you're on level 6, you can still go there. You don't have to worry about uh, whether you're the correct level. You can just go there because you're trying to learn something. So if you work in animal husbandry or landscaping on level 3, you might discover new use for a plant or a different way to work with an animal that would help humans. So you go to the Temple of Levels when it meets, which is about once a week, and you discuss what you learned, what you believe could be shared, knowledge could be shared with Earth. And who on earth would be open to infusion? That's getting thoughts from spirits um, to bring that information to the other side. Sometimes spirits share how to help fellow spirits in heaven. Like, what's a more effective way to do an experiment or a different way to build something? So, that also would be shared at the Temple of Levels. So, don't you wonder how people at 3 different parts of the world all come up with the same technique or cure or idea to make life better all at the same time? That's because the other side shared the knowledge with people who were listening or able to receive that information and act on it. This is not a temple where we would visit. It's a town hall for the other side where they share and discuss ways to help us on earth. Topics for discussion often include the Earth's climate change, the increased hurricanes, the possible asteroid impact, which they don't plan on having for centuries or at least decades, solar flares and how they can help lessen the effects of those events. So, say you're working on level 5, doing scientific research at the Hall of Research, and maybe you come up with a cure for a disease. You would share that information with the heavenly spirits on all levels at the Temple of Levels. And then you would get ideas of who on earth could be infused with that information to help us on earth. So we would have information we could use. A person who was great at being open and accepting infusion was Edison. You may have heard of inventors and even composers who say they get their best ideas when they take a nap or just wake up from sleeping or when they take a shower or meditating. That's when you get infusion, which is thoughts just shared with you, telepathic thoughts from spirits on the other side. And your spirit guide, your communicating guide, you have more than one spirit often that helps you, but there's one that's the communicating guide because you have 3 spirit guides and they're all trying to talk to you at once. No, they have one who's a communicating guide and all the information needs to go through that one person. So they would share people on the other side who have a knowledge that needs to be shared to earth. They would talk to people's communicating guides and then they would share that information with that person. So spirits on the other side can give us information when we're quiet, when we're noisy, when we're watching TV, when we're not listening, not open to information from the other side. Then it's kind of hard to share with us. I know I spent about 4 days waking up with aspects of a new hypnosis technique. I just taken a NLP class, and then when I came back home for 4 nights, I wake up, and then I'd have an idea for a technique for using with children. Well, actually, ages 5 to 105. Anybody who's open to that idea. So I was getting infusion about how to share that technique. It wasn't all my thoughts, I know, because I would wake up with those thoughts. So somebody must have been giving me infusion about how to create this technique for people to use to work with children, especially, but children of all ages. And it's using a superhero. So if you want to know about that and you're a hypnotist, let me know. So I could remember the knowledge I was infused with each day, and then I had another piece of the technique. And we often get infusion from our spirit guide each day. And I know most of the time, I think those brilliant thoughts are all mine. I came up with them. And actually, they're thoughts from the other side, infusion from the other side to make me feel like I'm brilliant, which isn't necessarily so. Anyway, so you get infusion each day from the other side, which is wonderful. So the Temple of Levels. The Temple of Levels is a place where spirits from the other side gather each week. They don't have a timeline like we do, but it's about every week where they share the new information. Like, what have they discovered? What have they come up with? What ideas do they have for helping us on earth and also for sharing with each other to make the process easier? So the other side is always cheering for us. They're always trying to help us in whatever ways they can. Your spirit guides, your loved ones, your ancestors, they'll pray for you. They'll petition for you. They try to help you. They send you energy. They send you good thoughts. So think about what ideas you get today and which ones you think are actually yours and which ones you think came from somewhere else. So just reflect on that today and see how much of the time you think you're getting your own brilliant thoughts and how many times you think, oh, that probably came from somewhere else. I know when you request something, when you're looking for something, I remember when I was in Australia, I think I've told this story like a year and a half ago. I was in Australia and when I travel, I used to collect a doll, a representational doll of the culture that I'm visiting. So I was in Australia and I couldn't find anything. And I was at, what's it called? The Rocks. Anyway, I was at a shopping center and I thought, well, I've already gone into the store. I don't need to go into that store again. But I got this feeling again, I should go into that store. So I went into that store and I found this cute little doll, a little rag doll that represented Australia. So take some time today or this week and see what knowledge, what infusion you think you're getting from the other side, what help you're getting from the other side, and what is yours. It's all yours anyway, because they're sharing it with you. But that's something to consider. So the Temple of Levels. The Temple of Levels is a wonderful temple that helps us all the time. But it's not one we would necessarily go to because we're not on the other side. We're not doing research. We're not figuring out new ways to work with something. But it's integral in advances that we make on Earth because often those advances are figured out on the other side and then shared with someone here, like they did with Edison, because he was always good about receiving information, thinking about it, and acting on it. Now, many, many people get information, but they don't act on it. So a lot of scientists, a lot of researchers get the information about a new cure or get the information about a new way to do something, and they don't act on it, or they negate it completely. So see what great information you're going to get from the other side today. And thank you for visiting with me today. And I'll see you next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.